4th and goal. Edgar going for it, trying to tie the game. Back to pass, Madison. Under pressure, he throws it up into the corner. It's a jump ball. He got it! Touchdown, Wildcats!
Welcome to the Jerry Sinz Show. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, here at the Jerry Sinz Show at the Buck-A-Neer in Roselleville. Weekly specials on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday, all-you-can-eat steak and shrimp and chicken and shrimp Alfredo. And on Thursdays, all-you-can-eat barbecue ribs, chicken breasts, chicken wings and fries. And Friday, fish fry. And Saturday, prime rib. Come on out to the Buck-A-Neer and enjoy what Coach Sinz. You had a salad last week. You took a visit to the salad bar. That looked pretty good. As a matter of fact, I came in here myself early today and got a salad bar. It looked so good, what you had last time. So we'll talk to Coach here about we'll wrap up last week's game over at Colby, and then we'll talk about the upcoming game at home against Marathon. So, Coach, we'll dive right into last week. We talked a little bit off camera about what happened last week. If 3 quarters made $1, you were going to be in pretty good shape, or just into that 4th quarter anyway. But 29-14, that 4th quarter kind of slipped away from you. What do you tell the guys about learning from that kind of game and then moving on? How does that conversation go?
Well, yeah, we talked to him afterwards, and like I say, it was kind of a tough week for us with some different circumstances during the week also, but I thought we played really hard. We didn't start the game all that great, but then I thought we woke up and we played really hard for 3 quarters. And of course, then we got the big run by Carter Button, early in the 4th quarter and scored a touchdown on a amazing pass, to tell you the truth.
Right.
And then got the 2-point conversion, and all of a sudden here we are ahead in the 4th quarter. And I was pretty surprised by it myself, based on all the things that had happened and the way things had gone. I probably should have taken a timeout after our kickoff. Matty Butt, of course, plays defense and he plays offense, and he's our kicker. And I think he was tired because we didn't get a very good kick, even though we tackled him okay. But they were probably inspired to the fact that they were behind for the first time all year, certainly the first time in the 4th quarter, and they came back, really intent, and we just couldn't match their intensity on that next drive, and they scored fairly readily, and the quarterback kept the ball practically every play. So yeah, in hindsight, had we taken a timeout right after the kickoff and given our guys a little chance to rest and refocus on what the keys were, maybe things might have turned out a little different. But Colby's got a very good team, and we played hard all the way to the end, and hopefully, we'll continue to grow and get better as we're playing a lot of new guys, because hardly none of them started last year.
Very good young team from top to bottom this year, and they're learning probably practice by practice. You mentioned, I was going to bring it up, that touchdown throw by Madison Butt. Tell us about the play call there, because it looked to me maybe like that play might have broke down at one point, and then the heave to the end zone. But tell us about the play call there.
Yeah. It was the play we called, but he was getting hit right in the face as he threw. I don't think he ever saw the catch or what happened, because when I watched it over in the video, he was getting smacked right in the face by a defensive end, but he put the ball up where he knew the receiver was supposed to be, and he got some air under it to give him a chance to jump. And fortunately, Everett Brame, who's been a really good receiver for us, just kind of out-jumped the defensive back and caught it. Obviously, we were still down 1, but we had practiced the 2-point conversion all week too, and the same thing happened on the 2-point conversion. He got leveled again, but he threw it very accurately, and Ashton Schuett went up and caught that one. So we were very happy at that point, of course, to be ahead 8-7 in the 4th quarter.
We talked last week. You said that you wanted just to get to that 4th quarter and then hope for something good to happen. Hope for In that case, that touchdown, that was something good that happened. Colby in that game, just were able to outlast you a little bit. Brent Yeski ends up going for 163 yards. You had him hemmed in for most of the game, but that guy's going to get his. And in a little bit bigger team, a team in division up like Colby, sometimes they can wear out a smaller team a little bit.
Yeah, they have a lot more depth, obviously, than we do because they have a lot more seniors and juniors both than we do. And, of course, they have a lot more experience than we do because we basically played all seniors last year, and they pretty much played all juniors last year because they had a small senior class. So they have the experience edge on us, and certainly they have the depth edge on us, with juniors and seniors. And maybe we were okay to play for 3 quarters with them, and that's about all the energy we had. That's the way it appeared. And when I watched the video, they were basically just kind of like running over guys in the 4th quarter that were just no longer had the energy or whatever to make the plays that normally they'd be able to make. But you got to give them credit. They have a very good team, and like I say, hopefully we can learn from it. We can come back stronger this week because we got a lot of good teams left. We got Hurley left who's 4-0. We got Abbey left who's 4-0 right now. So we got a lot of good teams left too.
Very much looking forward to the rest of the schedule. We'll talk about your next opponent coming up here. Again, you're watching the Jerry Sinz Show here at the Buck-A-Neer in Roselleville. You got Merriwood conference action yet again. You play Marathon. They won. I had the score up here, 28-16 over Bondwell last week. A nice game for Marathon. You and I have talked about Marathon before. It's an interesting opponent, one you've played for a long time. The other deal is it's just a few miles away. And so oftentimes in the stands, you can have this person here cheering for their nephew on the Marathon and their nephew on your team. Talk about that, the closeness to those communities, and sometimes you find people in the stands cheering for both of you.
Yeah, we have that with both Marathon and Stratford. We have a couple of our former players coach at Stratford. Some of our former players' kids now play for Stratford. And the same thing kind of occurs with Marathon. Marathon's even closer, obviously, than Stratford is. And so, yes, we see that pretty much every year. So the Marathon game is always a intense game because we're so close to one another, and there are so many families that, one uncle's kids go to Edgar and one goes to Marathon, you see, and those kinds of things. So we're always aware of that. I think our kids are always kind of fired up, and I'm sure Marathon's kids are too. And then they have some very talented players this year. So we're going to have to be on our toes again.
Take a look at the stats here. Matt Annis, 671 yards. He had 233 in that win against Bondwell. So you got another big running attack coming at you. You guys have seen that. You've dealt with it, both in wins and losses this year. Is it just sometimes a matter of just stopping that one guy?
Yeah, he's had a heck of a year because, we have a back that is pretty good. And shoot, he's got 120 more yards than he does. I think he also had over 200 yards against Iola. So he's basically averaging about 200 yards a game almost, and I think he scored 7-8 touchdowns. So certainly he's going to be a guy to contend with. I remember seeing him in track, and he's a well put together guy. He's fast. He's a sprinter. So certainly we're going to have to key on him defensively.
Talked about this last week a little bit with the game so close. There's no reason that you shouldn't be at Wildcat Stadium on Friday night watching the game. If for some reason you can't get there, ZaleskiSports.com will have that game live. I know you had a whole boatload of people for Colby and Edgar over in Colby last week, so I don't know that it takes my message to get that through. I think people understand they're going to go to the game and have a good time. Carter Butt, for you, sophomore, having himself a nice season, just shy of 600 yards. Aiden Weisenberger's, check out the stat sheet here, getting some yards for you too. You talked about your offensive line last week. Is that what it takes to make these guys go?
Yeah, our passing game hasn't been as sharp. We haven't been connecting on as many passes. We throw a lot of good passes, good-looking passes, but they might be overthrown by a couple feet or whatever. I thought our touchdown pass and our two-point conversion pass were excellent. We had near misses on about 3 or 4 deep passes where we actually had the defensive back beat, but maybe he had been held up or he'd been cut off in his route just a little bit, so he wasn't quite where Matty thought he would be. But had we been able to connect just on 2 of those, well, the game could have easily been different. But once again, that's the way it is in tough games. It's a play here, a play there that will decide it. But we're very happy with the way he's playing and the way he's throwing. I finally got him to run the ball once last week, and he ripped off about a 25-yard gain. So we know that he's capable of that too. And our offensive line, I think, should be a strength, but we have to get those guys some rest too, because there's only 5 of them and most of them play defense, and they just wear down in the end.
You normally would say when you can 2 platoon it, right, that one unit can give the other unit some rest, but the guys go both ways like that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you go up against a big rushing attack like that, or what have you thought about so far in Marathon, and how will you rely on your defensive contributors to make a big impact on Friday night?
Well, yeah, of course, obviously we all know that, that Matt Annis is an excellent runner from what we've seen on film. We tried to work more guys in to our defensive game plan on Tuesday, and today in our offensive game plan too. We had about 18 or 19 guys we kept on the defensive side of the ball on Tuesday, and some other juniors, some other sophomores that, hey, you guys have to play some in the first and the second quarter so that the regulars have enough energy to play the fourth quarter if the game is close.
Right.
And that's not the way it's been happening the first few games. No, we've been playing basically the regulars for the first 3 quarters, and then of course then you hate to sub in the fourth quarter even though the guys are tired. So we're going to have to, as coaches, do a little better job of substituting and keeping our guys fresh, I think.
And then weather. Weather's always an impact, especially in Wisconsin. Usually as the season goes on, we start looking at the forecast about snow or ice, and those things might still happen yet this year, Coach. But, man, I don't know that we've had such a start to a season before with so much rain and thunder, and, of course, now we got more rain in the forecast Friday. Is that something you're able to think about during practice, or is that something when kickoff comes, maybe you got to make some last-second decisions to change it up a little bit?
Yeah, we haven't thought about it at all in our offensive game plan. No, we haven't planned for it at all. It's always a thing in the back of your mind as a coach. But we're hoping that the rain's done by noon on Friday or whatever, and by Friday night it's nice. The weather's been perfect for practice. It was just beautiful again today. I think it's going to be gorgeous again tomorrow. The kids think it's a little too hot, but of course the coaches think it's perfect. And it's going to be even warmer this weekend. So no, we're very happy with that. I think we can pass or run if we have to. I think we just need a little more work in the passing game.
Another game that's going on Friday, we'll kind of transition now to more of a conference look, and then we'll ask you about the Packers too, and then we'll shut this one down here. But Abbotsford and Colby now are going to tangle with each other. They're both 2-0. You had the first conference loss. There could be, obviously we're still a long ways from the conference being settled, but just kind of your take on that. I know you play Abbotsford coming up later in the season, but 2 of the first place teams going at it. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I was not even aware that they're playing this week, but because I'm worried enough about Marathon in our game. But
excellent.
That should be a good game.
Yeah.
Of course, being neighbors like they are, only a couple miles apart, I'm sure they really know each other. So I'm sure that'll be a good battle. I'll be interested to see how that turns out myself. Yeah.
A lot of people switching out to Packers. If you had a chance to watch the Packers on Sunday, as it turned out, of all quarterbacks that played a full game in Week 1, Aaron Rodgers had the least amount of yards. And a lot of people are complaining, well, he didn't play in, he didn't do training camp, and didn't play in the preseason. So, you got a little bit of a look at that with your guys, and how guys are able to gel and come together. Any truth to that maybe sometimes you can have a slow start if you weren't there from the start?
Well, I guess it's got to be one of the factors. We decided to have our film session at 2. Normally we have it at 6 on Sunday, but we had it at 2 so that the guys could get home at 3:30. It usually lasts about an hour and a half, so everybody got it home in time to watch. When I got home, I think it was 10 to 3 already, but I'm thinking, well, all right, we'll make a comeback. This is okay, 10 to 3. Well, of course, it was bad. No, by the end I could hardly watch anymore. Yeah, they did not look good in defense, and they did not look good in offense. And I mean, New Orleans appeared to be just much sharper all the way around, more intense. And I don't know how much New Orleans played their guys in the preseason, although we know the Packers didn't play theirs at all. So it's hard to be sharp right out of the chute if you haven't played in a year. That's what it amounts to. And hopefully that'll be better Monday night against Detroit.
Yeah, good. Well, that was my very final question for you, Coach. They get an extra day to think about it. You've been in those kind of games before where you play on a Thursday, and then you get that extra day. Advantage, disadvantage with that extra day coming off of a loss like that?
Well, I think it's definitely an advantage. Yeah, you know, you got an extra day to rest and then to study things and to prepare. If I had to bet, I'd bet we're going to see a vastly different Packer team on Monday night than we saw last Sunday in Jacksonville. I would guess.
Yeah, well, I know that's what they have planned anyway. Yeah. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us again this week. Jerry Sinz Show here at the Buck-A-Neer in Roselleville. Again, you're watching this on Thursday, and Edgar Marathon on Friday, 7 o'clock. Get down to Wildcat Stadium. And again, if you can't make it for whatever reason, then we'll have that game live at ZaleskiSports.com. We'll see you next time.
Back to pass, Madison. Under pressure. He throws it up into the corner. It's a jump ball. He got it!